and the trunk opens.
What?
I'm like, dude, me and Fuad, we have like our hands in our hair, like pulling out our hair. Like, what the fuck happened? How? Like, what? Okay, Netflix Party is it's like a Google Chrome extension or whatever. You can watch Netflix with a friend who's not with you, and it opens up a chat bar next to the video, so you can talk to each other through the chat bar, and the videos are synced together. So if someone pauses for everyone. If someone forwards for everyone. So you can actually watch things together while not being together. Obviously, this became really popular during the lockdown and the quarantine.
So innovative of Netflix.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't think it's Netflix though. I think it's like a third-party website that's not
really?
linked. They even have like a Patreon, hey, support us, like thing.
Oh, wow.
That's genius, whoever those people are.
And they called it Netflix Party?
.com, yeah. It's netflixparty.com.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, big up netflixparty.com. Saved me and my girlfriend's relationship during the lockdown. So I was watching Breaking Bad recently. I just got into this show. And as it's like season 2 something or whatever in the show sorry guys, everyone's listening, sorry I messed that story up, but it wasn't Breaking Bad, it was Ozark, that show.
Just go back and say we were watching Ozark.
It really changes nothing in the story.
Oh, okay.
Cool. We were watching Ozark, not Breaking Bad.
I thought at the end you might have said like, and then turns out it was Breaking Bad.
No.
Part of the punchline.
No. It's just in one scene in the damn show, the guy is trying to smuggle millions and millions of dollars, and he doesn't want to seem too like flashy with all the money he has. He's becoming like a multi-millionaire. In the show, the car that he has in this town that he's moved into, where he's like a multi-millionaire, but he has to keep a low profile, is an Oldsmobile Cutlass. In the show, it's an Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Okay.
So I freak out, and it's Netflix Party. So I pause it, so it forces me and my girlfriend's video to stop, and I start typing all caps, oh my god, it's an Oldsmobile Cutlass. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And that's exactly how I feel right now.
That's how you feel right now. I'm like, you have no idea. And I start screenshotting the picture of the car, and I open Jamil's WhatsApp, like Jamil in the WhatsApp group that we have with friends, and I'm like, Jamil, look, it's the car in the show, like that.
Yeah.
So, which brings us to...
That's so crazy that they have it in the show.
It's so crazy that it's an Oldsmobile Cutlass in the show.
Why?
It's so insane.
The Oldsmobile Cutlass is a car that when Jamil and I were like... When I was like second year university, Jamil and I each put $400 together when we were college students in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Dallas University, represent. Because we wanted to have a car, and we bought this old, beat-up piece of crap car for as a whopping total of 800 Canadian dollars,
including shipment.
Yeah, including shipment from Toronto. It came. Someone drove it from Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, Warren hooked that up.
Yeah,
what a G. And I said he had a friend who wanted to drive from Toronto to Halifax. He's like, I'll tell you what, my buddy wants to come. You'll give him a free ride. He'll bring you the car.
Okay.
Yeah. So he brokered that deal for us. And it was a 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass, a sedan where the front row where the driver and passenger sit, it's like a velvet
red velvet interior.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Beat up white from the outside.
Yeah. And it's like a bench, the front row.
Oh, so like 3 people can sit.
Exactly.
Like 3 people can sit. Where you change the gear is from behind the steering wheel. Where it looks like such an old feeling, like hilarious.
A grandpa car.
It's a grandpa car.
It's straight up a grandpa car.
Yes.
And what's so hilarious about this is that if you look up Cutlass Oldsmobile, there's an advertisement about it.
From like the 80s.
From
like
the 80s.
The ad for the car.
And the slogan is, it's not your father's car anymore.
That's the selling point?
Yeah, that's the selling point. It's like the Oldsmobile Cutlass. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not your father's car anymore.
Yeah, it's not your. And then every time me and Jamil would get, of course, at the time we were over the moon. We got a fucking car.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is
No,
we're like-
no one had a
no
car.
one had a car. No one had a car. And for us, like, we get in the car, we're immediately like, you know, you can go anywhere. Now we can start exploring, go to different things, different towns. You know, open the whole world up to
Needless to say, we became the most popular kids in town.
us. Yeah, especially with our broke ass friends. And it opened up a lot of adventures that Jamil and I would go on after we got the car registered and everything. And every time we get in the car and like we're showing off, or like me and Jamil would be driving, I'd be
Like
like,
G's in the car.
it's not your father's car anymore. Like showing off. And
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I do vaguely remember seeing this car.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
we'll link in the show notes a picture of the car because I definitely got some photos on.
Oh,
Yo,
we have
Mo's
to.
like really taking
Well, you guys
Taking over
taking
the
over
social
show.
media.
He's
Just
not,
like Instagram is just like Mo's like old Facebook photos.
he's not,
This is when he was born. This is Mo at 5 years old.
he doesn't even wait for us to be like, oh, you want to send us a picture of it? And
Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes.
I got you guys. I got you. I got like 2 amazing photos for you.
we'll link it
Okay.
in the show notes. Like, when the hell do we do that?
The world's most demanding guest on a podcast. Hey guys, you'll link it in the show notes, yeah? Okay. I'll send it over after when I get home.
But we gotta find that commercial. Maybe play it in the YouTube video
Yeah,
too.
that's cool.
But anyway,
But anyway, yeah, that car was pretty beat up when we got it.
Uh-huh.
And I gotta say, we did not give it.
we did it no favors in terms of maintenance or.
So it was like
Okay.
crappy?
As this is what I remember. As soon as we got it, I noticed that the handbrake absolutely doesn't work. Like,
Okay.
there's no handbrake.
All right, fine. So you just like don't park on an uphill or a downhill.
Exactly. You know, put it on P and it's fine.
It's chilling.
And but I do remember, like, to give it some justice, me and Mo sat in the car and we were like, man, I'd be surprised if this car lasts this summer.
Yeah, we're like, if it lasts this whole summer, it'd be sick.
Like you get your money's worth
Yeah.
for the summer.
Yeah. It ended up lasting well over a year.
More than that.
2 years?
Maybe, like, I still had it when we graduated and I was going to Sitco and I was working in Halifax.
Oh, really?
That's when it broke down on me.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a story.
that's like
when it
2
finally
years?
broke down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What
So
other
yeah,
stuff was there
things
about
happen.
it?
Like,
Yeah.
for example, the blinker stopped working. Eventually, the door that the driver door doesn't open or close, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to get out from the passenger side.
Yeah.
So you can imagine like trying to impress a girl, and then like, I can't get out. Can you please get out from your side so I can get out?
Scooch over.
Scooch
Yeah,
over so I
scooch.
can get out of my car.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, or even like picking someone up. Like if we're both going to the car, let's say it's outside of college campus, it's right after class. I want to go to the car. I can't go to the driver's seat and open the door. I have to, like, you know, there's like, you want to be cool in front of all your classmates. You come out, you want to go into your car, but I got to go through the passenger door and like scooch in, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about the blinker, I remember it was broken in such a funny way where if you put the blinker on, it just stays on and
Oh,
it
yeah,
doesn't go
just,
on off. So
so
we
you gotta
were
manually-
terrified. Yeah, we were terrified the cops would like stop us. So whenever we needed to use the blinker, it's like on, off, on, off.
Yeah.
on, off.
Manually on
Yeah.
off?
Yeah,
Oh,
manually.
wow.
And then me and Mom would be like, yo, man, you're doing it all wrong, man. You know, you don't got the rhythm. You don't got the rhythm.
You're going too fast. They're going to know. That is not an automatic blinker. Yeah. Yeah, I remember, for example, one time I got I got rear-ended by a lady. I was driving to Chocolate Lake. We were going for a swim, and lady just rear-ended me from behind, and then she like brought down her window. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," like she's freaking out, like nice Canadian lady. I'm like, don't worry about it. I don't want to follow up. We didn't
Yeah.
have any type of proper, follow up on maintenance or anything like that. But there was even like a pocket on the front seat where once we had spilt a can of juice or something, and then we just never wanted to clean it, and it was a velvet material interior.
Uh-huh.
So after like 2 or 3 days, if you opened that, it became like the the mystery box of doom. If you open it, it was all fungus,
The
things
thing-
growing out of it.
Yeah, man. When it happened, it was like we went to the grocery store, bought a bunch of stuff, and like put it in the car. For some reason, we left a couple of cans in this like compartment, and then we forgot about it. A week later, I don't know, like we wanted to like store a disc or a CD, and I open it, and like the worst smell you could imagine. It like goes into your brain. It gives you a headache as soon as we opened it. I'm like, oh my god! And we saw like things growing, like mushroom type stuff.
Type shit in
And we
there.
closed it and we're like, no one shall ever open this compartment ever
Never
again.
look-
Yeah. You get in the car with friends and anyone reaches for it. You're like, don't open it!
Yeah.
Like, there is doom.
Yo, that stuff must have been poisonous. Like,
Yeah,
there's
that's gross.
definitely
That
poisonous.
is gross. So every year, just outside Halifax, in a town called Antigonish, in Nova Scotia, there's a music festival that happens. I think it's like the biggest music festival that happens on the east coast of Canada.
Yeah.
It's called Evolve. And because this year we had a car, we're like so excited we can go to Evolve. So we made a whole trip out of it.
Usually you gotta like start calling people like, oh man, who got a car? And like try your best to get someone with a car.
Maybe bus to Antigonish.
Is it like a far drive?
Oh,
like
yeah.
2 hours.
2.5 hours,
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay, so a car makes it a lot easier.
Of course.
Yeah. big time.
And you can bring supplies with you because you can fill up the trunk with like because for Evolve, the music festival is like a camp there 3 nights in a row. You bring your own tent, you bring your own food, you even barbecue there. It's not a
Okay, so it's a full on, you need to bring a lot of supplies,
Yeah.
camping gear, food.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
the
not just
supplies
like-
thing is key. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It's not
supplies
just go and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jamil and I and some friends, Fajr, my brother, was there. Our brother. He was there with us that summer. But
And also, Fuad was with us there that summer.
Alright.
Fuad, who was
Fuad.
on this podcast. Yeah.
yeah, Fuad was with us. So we took off from Halifax on the 2 hour and a
So
half
it's the
journey.
4 of you guys in the car?
I can't remember. There was also Jen in the front. But yeah, something like that.
A whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And you
'Cause-
bought groceries like before you left, or you
Yeah.
waited?
So before we left, we had coolers full of all like drinks and food and ice. And we had, imagine like 3 days worth of food, drinks, water, and tents, sleeping bags.
Whoa.
In Canada, it gets cold at night. Even in the summer, you want to be warm and that kind of thing.
Clothes, everything.
Everything that you
Everything.
would need to survive for 3 days. And we're low on money. We're students. It's not like over there. It's like, $5 a bottle of water or $10 for like a little hot dog.
You gotta be
it's-
thrifty, you know?
Yeah, it's like a music festival. You don't
And
want to
and the area is in the middle of nowhere. Like, yes, there is the town of Antigonish, but Antigonish town is a drive away for like half an hour.
Yeah,
or
this is
something.
like a field in the middle of
Okay,
nowhere.
so it's
Yeah.
completely isolated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally isolated.
So everything, you like packed up everything, put it in the trunk. Everything fits in the trunk?
Oh, one nice thing about the car is that it had a big trunk.
It's a very big trunk,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Gotta
so you
hand it
guys
to
are
them.
balling. Like you have a trunk full of supplies for 3 days.
And a lot of people counting on it, like, oh yeah, come throw your stuff in the bag, and like come
Some-
with
some
us.
people they're like, "Yo, can I give you a bag to take for me?" I'm gonna,
Okay.
like things like that.
Nice. You guys are like, the ones hooked up.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing people
we're,
favors.
We're the ballers. It's not your father's car anymore. so we did the drive. I can't remember. I think we may have got there in the afternoon of the first day of the festival, maybe around noontime or 1 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
Took off in the morning. And when you finally get there, there's a long ass line of cars being checked. Everyone has to have their bracelet and everything. And then you go into the huge field, which is a parking lot, which is next to the field where the music festival happens, where there's
Okay.
many stages.
So you take your car into the music festival.
into the music festival
Park.
and we
Parking
parked
space,
there.
and then you unload onto the field where you're going to stay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then we start getting out of the car. Woo! We're so excited.
Yeah, after
We're-
2 hours
Yeah,
drive,
we're
for
here,
sure.
and you can hear the bass from some of the stages. The show's already started, the early shows and stuff. You hear the bass and everything, and everyone's starting to get all hyped up and stuff.
Energy is up.
Energy is very, very high.
Amazing. I'm excited thinking of it.
So we get out and we're like, it's gonna be the best weekend ever.
A bunch of bros high-fiving and shit.
Yeah,
Straight up.
yeah, bro. So we get out of the car the car didn't have like one of those buttons from inside that opens the trunk. You have to take the key to the trunk, put the key in the trunk key, and unlock it.
It's not your father's car
and it
anymore.
opens.
It is not your father's car anymore.
Yeah. So we go, man, we're all hyped. Like, let's get everything. Put the key in the trunk hole, like in the trunk key hole. Try to turn it, and it's not turning. The key, and we can't get the trunk open.
And there's no button inside the car?
There is no button inside the car. There's no way to access the trunk other than getting this fucking key to turn, and the trunk opens.
Even the back seat, if you open the middle thing, it's completely blocked. Nothing will open.
They don't. It doesn't have that access from the back seat to the trunk. And you can imagine, we just drove 2.5, 3 hours from Halifax. This whole gang is depending on us.
Everything is in the trunk. Everything.
Like food, shelter, whatever. Like everything we need for the.
Okay, so what do you do? What do you do in this situation? It's fully locked. Like
it's locked.
It's not,
you
it's
try.
Maybe more than an hour.
I was gonna say, just keep
more
trying. Eventually, it'll open. Like it's a little stuck or something.
Exactly. We kept on trying.
We tried getting a crowbar and lifting the trunk a little, and then trying with the key. We tried having multiple people sit on the trunk. Maybe we need pressure to close it, and then you turn the key.
Smart.
Maybe you need so many tricks, and for whatever the hell happened for 2 hours.
It's like your energy is like.
And it's a Saturday. Yeah. It's a Saturday, so we're worried. It was a Friday or a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday. So we're worried that things might not even be open in Antigonish. Maybe we'll find a locksmith or something. But it's a weekend in Canada. Shit doesn't open there on a weekend. So after, maybe eventually, everyone who's part of the crew. We took one for the team. Was it me and Fuad?
It was you and Fuad, yes.
Me and Fuad were like, what? You know what, guys? You guys go into the music festival. Me and Fuad are going to go try to sort this out in Antigonish, go into the town, find someone. Maybe someone has a fucking chainsaw and open the shit or cut through the metal or something because we need it.
Like it's impossible to open?
Man, if you look at the key, it looked like the shittiest key ever
it's
made.
like a plastic key in a locker room,
like those book lock keys.
Really? Honestly, I swear to God.
Okay, what about from the inside? Let's discuss from the inside. Could you not tear down this partition?
It's like the full seat.
It's like the seat. The seat.
So there's no coming off with the seat.
And we don't even know, even if you rip through the cushion of the seat, it could be metal.
Yeah, is it metal? Exactly.
Oh, wow.
It was really brutal, and especially the sun was almost sundown.
Yo, I remember one thing when we were trying to open it, the first guy is like, guys, it's not opening. I was like, the second guy's like, man, get the fuck out of here. You don't know how to do it. And then the third person's like, y'all don't know how to do it. Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah. And then the guy who tried first was like, man, you gotta lift. He put the key in and tried to lift. You gotta angle it up. Let me get the fuck out of here.
And then
we're just 5 people in a row. Imagine 5 grown men scratching their heads maybe you gotta push down on the key.
And they were just looking at this thing like this. Yeah, I think you might got it.
Trying to will it to open.
Yeah, seriously, exactly. Yeah.
It was really awful. And there's, an awesome lineup of sick bands that's going to start at night in the evening. You don't want to miss that. And going back to Halifax and coming back is not an option.
Okay, can you not make do without the stuff in the trunk?
No.
Tent, food, water.
So there is no alternative tents available.
Accommodation? No.
Okay.
There's no accommodation.
There's no 5-star hotel.
It's befriend some people there and be like, can I sleep in your tent, please?
Okay, that's your only option.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which ended up happening, to be fair.
Or do my style. I always just sit on a chair and sleep.
Yeah, true. Jamil just sits right out in the open.
I find the chair to be way more comfortable to sleep on than inside a tent, lying down.
That's so weird.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story.
Okay, so then
anyway.
you took one for the team. Jamil, you
The thing is, I wasn't in the car coming with them. I ended up going with my friend Bria, who's originally from Antigonish, and she had a car. So I ended up going with her.
Okay.
Right. And I had our crew with us.
Okay, so Mo, why did you decide that you and Fuad would take one for the team?
Well, it was someone has to do it. I have to drive it. Jamil wasn't with us. Yeah, you weren't even with us. And so Fuad's like, I'll come with you.
Okay.
Like that. So we did that. We went
so
to
honorable of Fuad.
Yeah. So we went to Antigonish. We went to Antigonish, to the town. Started looking for any open shops or anything. We find Canadian Tire.
Amazing.
Okay?
Yeah.
Canadian Tire, for anyone who doesn't know, who's not Canadian. Canadian Tire is like the largest car. It's in the name, right?
I was gonna say the name's pretty.
Yeah, it's like car maintenance.
They fix cars.
They fix cars. They'll replace your tire. Actually, in Canada, there's something called Canadian Tire money, which you can buy. It's like Monopoly money, but only for Canadian Tire.
Oh yeah.
The ice cream man used to take it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, we get to a Canadian Tire, super excited. We're like, what? Like, yes, solution. It's a Canadian Tire. We go, and me and Fuad. I'm trying to remember best as I can. We go to the Canadian Tire. We try knocking on the doors. There's like a lady who's there, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like, sweet, nice Canadian lady being like, "Well, none of the mechanics are here today. The shop is closed. Like the workshop's closed. You're gonna have to come back on Monday." Like that. I'm like, "No, please, for the love of God, no." We're like so angry. And me and Fuad start going to, in the shops that are open that you can walk into, looking for things. Maybe we can buy some wrench. Maybe we can buy whatever. Maybe we should stock up on food. I can't remember. We might have bought some more food and things like that. Maybe some more supplies, getting doubles. And the sun now is completely going down, and we're really on such low spirits. And we go back to the car, like, fuck it, let's go back to camp and make do. We'll figure it out. Maybe sleep on a chair like Jamil. We'll beg
my style.
Yeah, we'll just beg someone to sleep out in the open, just on a chair.
Just cuddle together.
Dude, I've been camping with Jamil in Fujairah, and I'll have a tent. I'll sleep in the tent. Jamil will sleep on the chair. Outside, exposed to the elements. He just sits on a chair and sleeps.
Yo, there's something about those chairs, those camping chairs. Yeah. They have this hanging element that is so good. Yeah, hammocky. Yeah, dude. And I hang my head on it and lie down, slide down a bit. Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Wake up at Jamil's always the first one to wake up because the sun hits his face. Oh, it's so fucking hot.
Yeah, that's a downturn.
Put a chair in a tent and sleep. That's what you should be doing.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, true. So we go back really low on spirits, man. We're going to get in the car and go back to the campsite. And I just look at Fuad and I have the key in my hand. And I'm like, man, I'm just going to try one more time. All right. I go to the back. I'm like, Fuad's like, how funny would it be if it works now? I'm like, yeah, I know. That would be so funny. I put the key in the thing, in the hole. I turn with the most ease, as if there was never an issue, ever. I put the key in, I turn, and it just turned with me, and it just turned without even opening the trunk. Just after my hand rotated in the key, I'm in such shock. I just hold that position, and I look at Fuad, and I'm like, dude, it fucking opened, and Fuad's like, wallah, you're fucking lying, wallah, you're fucking joking, like that. I'm like, no, I swear to God. And I lift and the trunk opens.
What?
I'm dude, me and Fuad, we have our hands in our hair, pulling out our hair. What the fuck happened? How, what? After, all the men trying and crowbars and getting
hours and hours.
So much. It was just hey, let's just try one more time before we go back. Fuck it. I put the key in, it went, and it just opened. And then he's like, take everything out of the trunk now. We can't risk it. It
might close my
It might close. We're just so shocked. In a panicked frenzy, we start unloading things. I'm maybe someone's going to come and close the trunk. You never know.
The trunk is a liability.
They start carrying shit out of the trunk and putting it in the back seat, and it's this euphoria. It's the happiest I've ever been because the fucking trunk door opened. And we put everything back in the back seat, and we drive to the campsite. Obviously, we didn't have WhatsApp and shit to let everyone know. We arrived with the tents, with the food. We went from broadcast, we're gonna slum it, to we got a campsite now. We got fires, we got firewood, we got everything. So
amazing. So what was wrong with the trunk?
No, until this day, no idea. And then since then, it never got stuck again.
Yeah, it was just that time.
Just
when
that
we needed it the most.
One time.
It's not your father's car anymore.
It's not your father's car anymore.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, and one of the many adventures and predicaments that I've gotten into through that car.
Oh, that car.
It's like, it's not.
By the way, the car at some point started making the weirdest sound.
Of course.
That when we're driving it in town in Halifax, everyone is looking at you. Like, as you're driving, everyone's just like, who the hell is driving that piece of junk?
Yeah. I used to drive everywhere with my friend. His name is Shijay Akinsa.
Yeah.
Jamil, you know him. He's a Nepali, originally Tibetan Nepali friend who I became very close with in university. Shijay, what up, Shijay? Still keep in touch. He just had a baby.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyway,
I respect that.
And I remember him, like, you know, they don't really know Arabs in Nepal or anything, and I was probably his first ever Arab friend or whatever. And I don't think he really understood what Arabs were. Like, he doesn't know what we are. So he'd be like,
no background.
So he'd get in the car with me. We'd be driving and it makes all these noises and it's shaking. He's like, bro, this is just like we're driving in a gangster Arab movie. I'm like, do you know, there a such thing as a gangster Arab
gangster.
I don't think you know what the Arabs are, man.
You can't just put that word with anything else. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, except his accent is like, hey, Mo, this is like a gangster Arab movie.
Is that what he sounds like?
Kind of, yeah.
Good stuff.
But,
yeah.
Any other recollections?
There is one.
Related to the car?
Yeah, related to the car. The end of the car. The sad ending of the car.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember how that happened.
To tell me if what I remember is me.
Oh. It was before you get to you.
Yeah.
As we're driving the car, slowly we started realizing that the brake was becoming weaker and weaker. And I was like,
it's so sad. This car sounds like a person, you know?
Yeah, the brakes were like its heartbeat for sure.
Yeah.
Because like it reached a point where you have to floor the brake to come to a complete stop.
Just to come to like a slow stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah. And then, what did I want to say? Yeah, and then you. What happened to you?
I was going to say, I remember one time when it got to critical condition, I was driving to the local like superstore, like the supermarket to get groceries. And Halifax is a very hilly town, uphill, downhill. And I was so lazy because I knew the brakes were at very critical levels and I shouldn't be using them. But I'm like, no, I don't want to carry all the groceries back and walk, you know, like that. Halifax is small, you can walk anywhere. So I remember taking the risk of going to the Sobeys on like Barrington. It's kind of like a long downhill. And I couldn't hit the brakes. And as Jamil said earlier, even the hand brakes are really, really weak. So
the handbrakes don't work.
Yeah. So
when we bought it, the handbrakes didn't work. Like you could have the handbrake on and the car would drive.
Yeah, but it would slow it down a little bit.
Okay.
So I drove to Sobeys that day was like, I would turn off the car when it was downhill and like push the brake as much as I can, pull the handbrake and be
double
like,
legs.
Please stop. Like while it's going downhill. I remember coming to an intersection that was red. I'm like, please. And it's going just so slowly. Thank God it was like midnight or whatever, because it was a red light going downhill. It's red and the car just rolls right through the red, like slowly rolls through the red light. And I'm just like, oh, for the love of God, please let there be no oncoming traffic, you know?
Why would you like cause this kind of torture onto yourself?
I don't want to walk.
Like
walking is for losers.
Risking death.
Yeah.
This is not your father's car anymore.
So I remember I got to the Sobeys and you could make it stop from slow movement. You can make it stop because you can put it in the parking gear. Parking gear forces it to stop. Right. Damages the gear a little, but forces the car to stop. So I got it. So I got it to stop, and I made it back to our house with all the groceries.
That's not exactly what happened. Maybe you forgot.
I forget everything.
Mo, what happened with
What
Mo?
a great storyteller.
I kind of just wing it off like the most fragile memory I have. I'll elaborate.
Base a whole episode on that.
Okay, the car was ours, but all our friends would drive it whenever they needed it.
Right.
So we made, I don't know, we had like multiple copies of the key. So we had given a bunch of different copies to different friends.
What? So the people just had access to the car.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, where's the car today? Oh, it's on the Jubilee House. Today it's wherever it is. Like,
it's like a
It's
communal.
It's not your father's car anymore. It's the people's car.
yeah.
So we had a key given to our friend Feldman.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Feldman. A lot of shout outs in this episode.
Yeah.
But so Feldman had a key. And what Mo ended up doing is he ended up leaving the car parked at a random spot.
Yeah.
And maybe you came back walking or something. I don't know if it was that same trip.
It might have been that same trip because I
groceries trip?
Yeah.
It might have been like I left it a few blocks away from the house and I'm like, this is fucked.
Yeah. Like Mo went through the experience of going through the intersection without being able to stop. And he's like, I am not driving this thing again. So he left it there. And then later on, Mo tells me about the story. And I'm like, wow, that's so fucked up. So we can't drive the car anymore. He's like, yeah. And we're like, yeah, we got to figure out what to do with the car then. Like, how do we dump it? Like, how do we get rid of
a car? Like,
And we're like, yeah, we got to figure it out. And we're like, leaving it. Eventually, like maybe a month later, our friend Feldman comes to us and tells us, guys, what the hell is wrong with you? What is wrong with your car? And we're like, whoa, what's going on? And he's like, man, I found your car parked illegally or something like that. And he's like, I thought I'd do you guys a favor. So I went inside the car, turned it on, and I was driving it. And I went through like 2 red lights and the car wouldn't stop. He's like, I threw it like randomly at some street, just parked it randomly, and I left it there. So we're like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, about that.
We forgot.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
He gave us a lot of shit about it. He's like, man, I almost died.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry about that.
And the end of the story of the car is that we just left it there and
wherever it was,
and we never asked any questions.
Yeah,
and the car never asked back.
It parked illegally somewhere, and then whatever we got.
Probably got towed.
I think I remember someone saying that it was in a dump somewhere, and that we were getting letters.
Oh, were we?
Do you remember?
So it was like
I don't
properly
remember this at all.
registered under your names?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe,
definitely, like the registration expired eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think we ever renewed it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Looking at our behavior.
Yeah. Considering.
Seriously.
So yeah, that is the story of the Oldsmobile.
The legendary Cutlass Oldsmobile.
So you must have freaked out when you saw it in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. And it's not a car that you see frequently or everywhere or anything like that.
Ever.
Yeah, so it's like the last model was probably produced in the 80s sometime. Like, it's definitely a dying car. I mean, have you ever heard of the brand Oldsmobile?
Or Cutlass.
Yeah, so it's an Oldsmobile. So seeing it in Ozark and freaking and pausing and explaining.
Probably telling Susie like, it's not your father's car anymore.
Yeah, I totally did that in the Netflix party chat.
And Jamil, how did it feel to, relive that moment through the movie,
Honestly, I didn't notice until Mo showed me. And
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah, but reliving it is really when you tell the stories again.
Yeah.
Not.
No, I mean, like, when you see it, you get like a little nostalgia.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like if someone asked me what was the best value for buck you've ever paid on something, I would have to say it's the Cutlass Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
Because damn, we got a lot out of that $800.
Dude, if the whole neighborhood was using it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, it probably could have been the worst $800 we've ever spent if Feldman died.
Yeah, true.
Horrible.
But luckily, he lived.
He survived.
Man, you never know. If you guys just left it in some random street, it could be like one of your like random friends that has a key is
True. I've seen it.
driving it till this day.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and then he's listening to this podcast right now, and he's like, suckers.
But man, in hindsight,
And he's driving. While driving, he's listening to the podcast.
Okay, was fixing the brakes ever like?
it never even crossed our mind. But like I was just about to say, in hindsight, we're so retarded because I've had the brakes get weak on my car, and all you have to do is get brake oil put into the car. So
Yeah, true. But we did have a worry about going and doing that. We were worried
going and doing what?
going to fix the brakes.
Oh yeah,
We had a worry. It was something like
safety inspection.
Yeah.
Oh,
If-
you wouldn't pass, and then the car would be taken away from you or
Yes.
some
Exactly.
shit.
Yes.
Oh, okay, then
Exactly.
you guys would be illegal driving. And you don't want to get exposed,
Dude, it was insane how many things were wrong about this car. The driver's seat door doesn't work. Like
Yeah.
there's fungus growing in the compartment,
Yeah.
and like
No hand brakes. They flick the flickers or whatever they
oh yeah,
signals.
the blinkers, yeah.
Like lots of bad
It
things.
sounds
And-
like everything, really.
And
The
when
brake-
it's in the mood, the trunk doesn't work.
when it's in the mood, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Should I pause?
Oh, maybe you should like end on some concluding like, it was a good ride. You know? Sorry.
It was a good ride, that's for
I
sure.
feel like I'm feeling like a bit connected to this car right now. I feel like it brought you guys so much joy and it brought people together and then it just kind of faded out of your lives. Like, should you
Like-
not pay some respects at the end of the episode?
Like everything must end.
Everything has its time.
It was a good ride. Yo, Mo, what do you think a good YouTube comment would be to like
To this podcast episode.
to end this episode? Or just keep jiggling the nuts, really. I mean, what's-
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Well, I mean,
I was
fine.
gonna pause, but then I was like, oh.
Yeah.
What do you think a good like, comment would be to something like this?
Top
this-
comment.
Top comment on this episode.
Don't worry, it still is your father's car. No.
Ride or die. No, I'm trying to think of like, because remember Mojo, it's got to be like a
I'm
quote. That's
Yeah, like it's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
wait, is this written somewhere in here?
Why
No.
It's probably like one of Zayd's like motorcycle. There's one here
Quotes?
that says,
Live to ride, ride to live.
"Yeah, live to ride or ride to live."
In
Anyway,
Feldman's case, it was almost live to die. I mean, ride to die.